This week, Michael takes on Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, we enjoy a sneaky peek at Disney Infinity, and meander down memory lane to the year that was 1992. This is Player Attack. But first, the latest gaming news, and we're hearing stories that the Australian-based studio formerly known as Team Bondi has been closed by parent company Kennedy Miller Mitchell. It's been a rocky few years for the development team, let go by publisher Rockstar Games after the release of L.A. Noire back in 2011. The Team Bondi staffers were quickly snapped up by KMM, the film company behind such diverse titles as Mad Max and Happy Feet. Since then, the studio has been concentrating on the mysterious title Whore of the Orient, set in Shanghai in 1936. Now, while Warner Brothers was originally signed on to publish the upcoming game, it seems that company pulled out late last year, leaving KMM and Team Bondi unable to secure a new backer. All plans for Whore of the Orient are now on hold, and the developer is still out of work. In other news, gamers around the United States are getting ready for PAX Prime, which hits Seattle on August 30th. Tickets went on sale last Wednesday, and it took less than 5 hours for the entire allocation to sell out completely. PAX is also set to hit Melbourne in July, but if you haven't got any tickets to that one, you're out of luck. They sold out about a month ago. Now, most gamers in the West will know Crytek for their amazing Crysis series, but it seems that Russians are fans of the developer for a completely different reason. Warface is a free-to-play FPS that hasn't quite made it out of Russia just yet, but it has racked up more than 9 million registered players in just 12 months. As the servers for the game are located in Russia, it is unsurprising that most of the game's fans are from that region, but 5% of gamers have logged in from somewhere else. Ukraine, Belarus, Kazakhstan, and 2 players from Zimbabwe. There's no word yet on when it will hit the rest of the world. Speaking of the rest of the world, DayZ creator Dean Rocket Hall is currently working on climbing Mount Everest as he takes a 2-month sabbatical from developing the standalone version of the zombie-filled shooter. He admits the timing is poor, but explains that even though he is in the wrong part of the world, the rest of the team at Bohemia are still hard at work on DayZ, and the game should still be out by the end of the year. His latest blog post, written from base camp some 5,400 metres up, describes the addition of a new in-game radio system, extra zombie animations, and a ridiculous amount of written content, which forms the basis of hundreds or thousands of books that will be uncovered within the DayZ world. Sega is also preparing for a big release, revisiting the classic Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. First released more than 20 years ago for the Sega Mega Drive, this advanced side-scrolling adventure is headed to downloadable platforms by the middle of the year. This revamped Castle of Illusion is being rebuilt from the ground up with some stunning visuals and new gameplay mechanics, but the story stays the same. Help Mickey save Minnie from the evil witch, Miserable. While some games are getting all the love, it seems that EA's stack of social offerings has been missing out. The latest update from the company sees a trio of Facebook games set to close within the next 2 months. You can say goodbye to Pet Society, The Sims Social, and SimCity Social, which launched less than a year ago. The official statement explains that while millions of people swamped all 3 games at launch, the number of players has fallen off in recent months, forcing the game's closure. Meanwhile, the real version of SimCity is progressing nicely, thank you very much for asking. This week saw the release of the 2.0 patch, which brings with it tweaks, fixes, and updates to a serious chunk of stuff. Check out the new features added to casinos, school buses, recycling, the fire service, water pumps, region play, and the dreaded city not processing bug. And if you're unhappy with both the state of your virtual city and the state of your dental hygiene, Maxis and toothpaste brand Crest have teamed up in the US to present the in-game attractions set. Add 5 new attractions to your city, including the world's largest ball of twine, simply by entering a code found in specially marked dental products. If you don't buy the right toothpaste, you won't get the tourism bonus. It's been a big week for Bethesda Softworks. Firstly, we were told that after 18 months, development on The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim has ended, meaning no more DLC for the game. Since launch, we've seen the addition of a creation kit, support for both Kinect and Steam Workshop, and 3 significant DLC releases. Now though, the team is getting ready to work on its next major project. If you haven't yet checked out Skyrim, Dawnguard, Hearthfire or Dragonborn, don't rush out to buy a copy just yet. We're hearing rumours of a legendary edition headed our way, which will include a polished up version of the game plus on-disc copies of all 3 packs. And around the same time as one team at Bethesda was announcing the closure of a project, another was preparing to reveal something new. We were shown a series of short, cryptic videos last week before the wraps were taken off of a brand new survival horror game, The Evil Within. And before you write this one off as just another in a long line of lukewarm frighteners, a word of caution. It is the brainchild of Shinji Mikami, the man who created the original Resident Evil, and he is promising a return to pure survival horror. To keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.
I've only ever briefly played Monster Hunter before, but it was a series that I always meant to get into. When Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate was first announced for the Wii U and the 3DS, I decided that was where I would cut my teeth. Admittedly, my RPG experience is mostly limited to lighter games like the Pokemon and Fallout franchises. I thought I was used to sinking hundreds of hours into a game, exploring and grinding and fighting, so I expected Monster Hunter to be a slow burn. But I didn't expect to not have fun for the first 7 hours. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate gets off to an incredibly slow start. After you wade through screen loads of uninteresting dialogue, you'll move on to hours upon hours of menial quests. First, you have to go bug catching, and flower picking, and fishing, and mining, and grocery shopping, and gardening. Slowly, you move up to hunting slow-moving, unaggressive livestock. The need for tutorials is understandable, especially in a game as dense as this, but the lessons just aren't presented in an interesting or entertaining way. After a particularly tedious fishing mission, I was about ready to call it quits completely. I'm normally a pretty calm guy, but Monster Hunter 3 became the only game to ever make me rage quit due to sheer boredom. After a cold shower and a brief visit to my Angry Dome, I gave it another shot, and strangely the game decided the 7-hour 30-minute mark was the time to suddenly become fun. Incidentally, it coincided with my first major hunt. Fun follows when you finally actually get to do what the title says you'll be doing. The sense of scope on these beasts is impressive, and taking them down can be immensely satisfying after a long, hard fight. Although the 50-minute time limit on each hunt initially sounds excessive, later battles can scrape up against that time faster than you'll expect. But once the initial impact of the spectacle wears off, after a few hours of hunting, the game threatens to become dull again. It's a matter of recognizing the attack patterns of each monster and moving in to spam your attack button. Combat just doesn't feel very dynamic, and much of the battle is won in the preparation. Before you embark on a hunt, you need to gear up, which may include a lot of messing around with your items, combining or upgrading them, even going on gathering quests to find ingredients to upgrade them. It can become very time consuming, but if you like inventory management, you're in for a treat. I, to be fair, don't. Much of that first dull block of time was spent trying to figure out the purposes and perks of hundreds of different items. In the beginning, I just stashed everything in my item chest with the mindset of, I'll sort it out later. Eventually, it just became more and more of a chore, and I kept putting it off to do the next mission. The menu and inventory systems are unfriendly to the uninitiated, and as such, managing your equipment can be as daunting, confusing, and entertaining as doing your tax paperwork. One of the major positives is the expanded multiplayer component. We've known for a while that the Wii U has the technology to interact with the 3DS in some capacity, and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is the first game to show off some of those capabilities. A party of friends can embark on hunts with ease, using a mix of both 3DS and Wii U versions of the game, either locally or online. It plays mostly like the single-player mode, with up to 4 players teaming up to take down the big beasts. Of course, the usefulness of these features depends on how many of your friends also own Monster Hunter. If none of them do, you can continue your single-player Wii U game on the go by transferring it to your 3DS. But yes, that requires buying the game twice. It leaves me unsure of who the game is actually for. There's a mighty steep learning curve for newbies like myself, and it's not a particularly interesting journey until you get familiar with it all. On the other hand, if you've already sunk hundreds of hours into a previous incarnation of Monster Hunter, the opportunity to hunt a couple of new ones might not be worth the price of admission, or the hefty time investment that the series demands. While I can accept that the game just isn't my kind of thing, compulsive hunters and RPG veterans new to the franchise should find Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate to be the quintessential Monster Hunter experience.
To celebrate the launch of Player Attack on Aurora, we are sharing some of these fantastic Turtle Beach headsets with you. The very impressive Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Air Force Kilo combines premium stereo sound with the very snazzy orange and black colour scheme we know and love from the world's biggest FPS franchise. With independent volume controls mounted directly on the cables, you can adjust the audio to your preference, so you'll never miss a chat just because there happens to be an explosion going on. All you have to do to win your very own headset is to head to playerattack.com. Follow the links to the Turtle Beach competition, fill out your name and contact details, and enter the secret keyword, which is on your screen right now. The competition is open to anyone in Australia and runs all the way up until May 10th, with the winner announced on Player Attack on Friday, May 17th. For the full terms and conditions, see our website.
Disney Infinity is the first game ever to allow Disney animated characters, Pixar characters, and live-action characters to come together in one game.
Hailed as one of the most ambitious video games ever, Disney Infinity is already shaping up to be something very special. In a world where most games will take you by the hand and guide you through a predetermined existence, the team at Disney has gone for something different. It's a true toy box experience where you can play with a bunch of classic, well-loved characters in just the way you want to, even if that means it's very different to the way they act in the movies, and the best part, you can do all of it with some very nifty real-world toys.
This is the Infinity base, and so this is a near-field communications device. This plugs into the console, and when you place any figure on this, it can read it and understand what you've done. So when you place a figure on the base, it changes who you are, and you can do that at any time. There's no restriction on when you can put things on or off. We also have the power discs. Some of these power discs are round, and the round ones fit conveniently precisely underneath a figure, and these modify figures. If you put this under Sully, he may get more damage or more health, or he'll earn more money when he finds money, things like that. We also have the Infinity logo shaped power discs, these hexagonal ones, and these change your toy box. Some of them will make your toy box look different. This one, for example, is the night sky from Tangled. So this will make the sky full of lanterns, right? You put this on there, you can change the way the world looks. We also have power discs like this that will spawn in new toys you can play with. So, for example, Abu the elephant from Aladdin, you can spawn him in, you can ride him in the toy box as long as you have that power disc.
There are 2 levels to Disney Infinity. Firstly, each set of toys has their own set of adventures. Sully must protect Monster University from Fear Tech, their rivals. The guys from Cars have to get Radiator Springs ready for the big race. It's almost like these are the serving suggestions that you can see on a packet of food. It's an idea of how these things can fit together, but definitely not instructions that must be followed. Because if you would prefer not to follow the instructions, then you should head straight to the toy box. That's where the real fun begins in one of the most amazingly creative spaces we've seen in video games to date. Think Minecraft levels of flexibility with Disney levels of graphics and polish.
We allow you to build in the toy box not just the terrain, but you can also use special toys we call action toys and Infinitoys that have their own behaviors that you can connect together. So a really rudimentary example is I can have a button that's a toy and I can connect it to a door that's another toy, and by pressing the button the door will open and close, right? But any of these toys can be interconnected with any other toys, and they're not limited to just a single connection. And so using very simple connections, we've recreated things like Donkey Kong by using a side view camera toy and a ball spawner and some ramps, right? And very, very quickly as well.
It could be the sort of thing where dads don't necessarily need to come up with an excuse for playing with it, because they could just be making levels for the kids.
They could be doing that. I'm a dad, I have a kid, I'm not going to need my kid to play this game if I want to play it. There's plenty for me to do that I'm interested in by myself, sure.
Having spent a little time with Disney Infinity, I am happy to report that each of the in-game toys are just as different as their real-world counterparts. Ignoring the obvious fact that some have wheels, some have legs, and some have tentacles, they've also got very different abilities within the game. Mr. Incredible feels big and strong, while his son Dash lives up to his name, zipping all over Metroville.
Where did the whole idea come from for these toys and that base and working together like this?
I think the whole thing started with Toy Story 3, if we step back a little bit. Toy Story 3, the video game, which we also developed, had a toy box mode that was much simpler than what we have now. But we were really pleased with how that turned out and what the potential was, right? And so we wanted to expand on that idea. And we really just wanted to recreate what it was to play with toys like on your lounge room floor, right? You have a bunch of toys from different play sets, but you can make them all play together. And there's a certain kind of tactility to having a real toy that you simply can't duplicate, right? And some of us at the office are toy collectors, right? And we
really? At Disney?
You wouldn't have thought, right? And so we wanted to have a set of toys that were collectible that we could have on a shelf, you know? And so we thought, well, let's make the toy box bigger, let's make it better, let's throw more in it, and let's bring in the physical toys.
The toys themselves are great. If you didn't know that they were full of all the required electronic bits, you wouldn't be able to tell just by looking at them. Excitingly, all of the toys are compatible with all of the platforms. There's no such thing as an Xbox 360 Mater or a Wii U Sully. All in all, Disney Infinity is an incredible package. The individual play sets are beautifully crafted, fun, and at times a little challenging, but Toy Box mode is where it's at.
Jimmy the Geek here in 1992. The big news this year, a new fighting game has caused some big controversy. Mortal Kombat was released into arcades featuring sprites made from digitized actors performing brutal maimings upon each other, which the game calls fatalities. Of particular concern for parents is one character removing the head of his opponent with one hand spinal column and all. This, combined with the controversy of Night Trap, has led to more call to regulate the industry in the US. No word yet on how Australia is going to be affected. News from the console front, and Philips have released what they're calling a multimedia device, capable of playing audio CDs, karaoke CDs, and most interesting of all, video games. The idea appears to be a computer with a CD-ROM without all of the standard computer devices. No monitor, no hard disk. There are rumors that of all companies, Nintendo have entered some kind of licensing agreement to allow Mario games and Legends of Zelda games to appear on the system. Speaking of Nintendo, it's been a big year for their Game Boy platform, releasing 2 new characters designed to launch franchises. The antagonist of the second Super Mario Land game is being marketed as the Anti-Mario. He dresses in yellow and displays the greed and meanness that our favourite plumber is known to oppose. There's a belief that the third game in the series may feature this Wario in a larger capacity. The other character is a pink balloon creature who moves around in a dream world by inflating itself. It is unknown what the plans are for this Kirby. These releases complement a racing game featuring Mario is also due out later this year. Super Mario Kart is available for the Super Nintendo and will put players in control of one of the Mushroom Kingdom's most prominent figures, including Bowser for the first time, as they go racing head-to-head. No word as of yet as to why 2 mortal enemies have decided to take the day off and go go-karting instead, but we're hoping for more news on that later. Not to be outdone, Sega have followed up the massive release from last year, Sonic the Hedgehog, and are continuing their subtle ecological messages in a second new IP in which the player controls a dolphin. Onto the PC, and LucasArts have finally put forward another effort into their collection of games built on the Scum engine. This time players control none other than Indiana Jones. This time Indy must explore the depths of the ocean to uncover the lost city of Atlantis. The game will be fully voiced and contains several mini-games, including a basic combat engine. Whip has been confirmed as a usable item, but the canonicity of the title is still in dispute. A lot of people are calling Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis the 4th official entry into the trilogy. Finally, developer Infogrames is starting to bring fear to the PC. A new 3D adventure game, Alone in the Dark, puts characters in an almost Lovecraftian adventure through an old mansion filled with monsters trying to kill each other, and also trying to kill you. The aim of the game, according to the French developer, isn't so much to defeat the monsters as it is to survive the horror within the mansion. As of yet, the genre for this game has not been identified. I'm Jimmy the Geek in 1992 for Player Attack.
I'm Christopher Sabat, voice of Vegeta on Dragon Ball Z, and you're watching Player Attack.
And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack. Next week, we wander into the second Luigi's Mansion, chat to Paul Iding, the voice of Colonel Roy Campbell, the Overmind from StarCraft 2, and Grandpa Max from Ben 10. And after all that, Jimmy the Geek hops in the Wayback Machine and arrives on time in 1993. I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.